SnailTrail4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how great swings and myths are at Toyotas, then this is the podcast for you. We shouldn't use that intro, but we're going to anyways. Welcome everybody to the Snail Trail podcast. My name's Tyler, and joining me again here in the studio is the one and only mythical Jimmy Jet. You're so mythical, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I am very, at least that's what the assistant tells me.
That you're mythical or mythical?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll go with both.
All right. Anyways, we got a Monday episode.
We do
We're
indeed.
here on Monday morning for all your guys' enjoyment listening out there. We had a great weekend. We'll tell you about it on Thursday. I don't even remember what I did this weekend. Anyways, we'll tell you about it on Thursday.
Better remember it in 2 days.
I better remember it now.
3 days.
Yeah, this one's going to be a fun episode. We talked a little bit about it last Thursday.
Yep.
What we're going to be doing today. So we'll get into that in a little bit. We have some giveaway stuff to talk about first, in case you guys forgot after the awesome weekend about all the giveaways we got going on. There's the set of tires with Yokohama tires over on Apple Podcasts. Just leave us a review. And once we get to 750 reviews, we will pull a winner from those 750 reviews to get a set of tires from Yokohama. So,
I know. That's so cool. Thank you, Yokohama.
Yep.
But before we get to 750, we got to pass by 700.
That is true.
And once we get to 700, we're giving away a swag pack that includes an Onyx Off-Road Elite membership.
Yep. That's pretty sweet. Oh, I forgot to mention, something came through my feed, and Onyx is doing like 50% off.
Really?
On Elite memberships right now.
Oh, okay.
So don't quote me in case it was like a weekend only kind of thing and it's done now when you guys are listening to this. But as of a week ago, last Monday, they were doing 50% off on Elite membership. So it was only like $15 or $16, something like that.
Dang, that's pretty good.
So
if you want to get your Elite membership before you have a chance to win one, that would be a good time and place to do it.
Yep. And if you win one, you can literally just add it onto your account, and it just literally adds on at the end of whatever your current subscription is.
Absolutely.
So,
yep.
Pretty cool stuff from Onyx. It's if you guys are unfamiliar with Onyx, it's a really nice mapping software that works on your mobile devices. So it keeps you on the trails. It's a great way to explore nearby trails, what's around you that you can go do. And they've got a lot of really cool features, like being able to see snow satellite imagery during winter time. There's a 3D view of everything now, which is pretty fun to explore the Fordyce Canyon through this 3D view like Google Street Maps. So a lot of really cool stuff that they're doing. They're always improving, always doing, finding ways to make the app better. So make sure you guys are going and getting a membership so that you stay on the trails correctly. You're not creating illegal bypasses. You're not putting extra stress on our trails, and the land managers get pissed at us. So it's a really good thing. Everybody should have one. Go do it.
Absolutely. We also have our monthly giveaway happening, which this month is with our good friends over at Factor 55. F55. We got Justin coming on the horn here in a little bit. We're going to talk about some new products that are coming out. Yep. But we're also giving some of those new products away. We got the hammer loop and the hammer strap and one other thing that is on the very end of a hook, a closed hook loop system thingy that's on the very end of your winch line. That's called the ultimate hook. What's it called? Ultra hook. Damn it, I was so close.
You had it. You were just testing everybody.
Yeah, that's
you're making sure everybody else knew
everybody
what it was.
out there is yelling at their at their screens or whatever you're listening to this.
If you guys want to call in and let Jimmy know what that product is called, it's 916-345-4744. We'll listen to it on Fridays.
Yeah. All you got to do is call in and say Ultra Hook. And then hang
up. That'd be funny if people actually do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so lots of really cool stuff going on. We're always looking at ways to use the podcast as kind of a platform to bring us to vendors, vendors to us, vendors to you guys to vendors, you to us to you, and have it be just like one giant big orgy with vendors, us and you. So is that a good way? What
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I could have said it could have been a big furry convention between all of Betty.
All the bears are out.
All the bears. Oh, man. So, yeah, we're always looking to do some cool stuff for the listeners, the fans of the show. And really, we weren't really anticipating the podcast being as awesome of a networking opportunity as it's turned into for us. So being able to have these cool relationships with vendors, manufacturers out there, and then be able to share those relationships with you guys and the fruits of it and everything is it's really cool. And it's something that Jimmy and I are really proud of that we've been able to do. So the more that you guys listen, the more that you interact with the show, the more that you go interact with the vendors, the more you talk with them and just like, hey, I heard about you on Snail Trail. The more cool shit we get to do for you guys through working with all these vendors, manufacturers in the off-road industry. So keep it up. You guys doing great out there. And the more you do, the more we get to do. So
yeah, for sure. Is there any other giveaways going on? We did reviews. We did our giveaway. What was the other one? We did both of the reviews, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
That's it. We're shorter on giveaway stuff for the month of September, but we are gearing up for October.
Yes, we are.
So in October, we have gift boxes.
Yes, we do.
That's always a fun time for us. And I'm really excited for the gift boxes this time.
I know.
So,
I think it's going to be a good thing. Yeah, don't show that off. It's going to be a fantastic few items, and it's going to start, I think, something that's very important.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be really cool. So we'll talk about that in October after we ship it out to everybody. So gift boxes are going out the first week of October as the goal, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to hit it pretty easily. So make sure you guys' addresses are correct.
Please.
So I don't think we have any spares. We did the math on it today.
Yeah.
And typically during October for the giveaway, we'll do a couple gift boxes, right?
Yes.
So I think we're dead on.
I think so too.
How many things we have. So we may have to get more. We'll see. But you guys, please just make it easy and just go correct your addresses if you've moved. Make sure your address is correct in your PayPal account so that when we go to look up and set up your shipping labels, they go to the right spots.
Yeah, please. I will, and maybe have already. I think I said I would do it on Thursday's episode. I will try and send out confirmation emails to everybody confirming your guys' email or your mail addresses. And then How
dare you assume my address is sex?
Okay.
I have a female address, okay?
Yes, no problem.
Thank you.
Yep, anytime. My apologies. So you can once
That's a dad joke, Jimmy.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, come on.
I got it. You're 5 months in, 6 months in. You got
6 months in, and he doesn't talk yet, so he doesn't get it.
You need some work on it too. But confirm your addresses. We don't ship anything out until you guys confirm the addresses. So,
yep.
Yeah. We'll
go
through that.
Sweet. I think that's about it, man.
All right. Let's move on to today's main topic. Yeah.
All right. We can move on over. We'll listen to a couple words from Brian. He's got some really cool stuff going on. I don't know if we have the new announcement embedded in the audio stream yet, but
maybe
he has some really cool stuff going on. We've talked a little bit about it in the past, and we just learned that they are out. So if it's not a new word from Brian, everybody go check out the 4-Wheel Underground website if you're interested in really cool suspension stuff, because he just launched something and we're going to be talking about it. I think probably in October would be my guess.
Yeah, soon we will.
So, all right, well, grab your favorite drinks. I got some tortilla chips and salsa here. I know that's just one of Jimmy's favorites. So we'll be right on back after Jimmy's done stuffing his face with some chips.
Hot salsa.
If you have a 3rd-gen 4Runner and want 16 inches of wheel travel without cutting into your sheet metal, check out 4-Wheel Underground's brand new cantilever suspension, featuring an integrated anti-sway bar and turn-by-dial disconnect. Don't sacrifice performance and comfort for the sake of wheel travel. Get both with our new cantilever system at 4wheelunderground.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentle ladies.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did I assume you're gentle lady, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Jimmy's finished his 1-chip challenge.
Yeah. Piece of cake.
Piece of cake. He's not even sweating over there.
Yeah.
He's like relaxed.
No. Just put the and put the carton right up here.
Mm-hmm.
Only got it.
There you go. Yep.
Is there still something in here? There is, isn't there?
There is?
Yeah.
I was saying, I never ate it.
Wimp.
Fuck that.
I would do it again. The heat wasn't bad. I got heartburn. Never had heartburn before ever in my life, and I got it after that trip. And that heartburn is brutal.
Really?
I don't like heartburn. I'll eat hot stuff that doesn't give me heartburn. I'm down.
Yeah.
But that chip, it destroyed my heartburn.
Did you get?
Life.
Hold on. Where's our packed bingo here? Did you get spicy butt?
Yes.
You did?
I did.
Nice. You can mark that off on your bingo.
Oh, I thought you had to do it when you use that.
Oh.
Not in my lifetime, because I've already blacked out that thing before than if I've done it in lifetime.
You have? You've been a Disney princess?
Oh, yeah.
You've had a butterfly land on you while you're pooping?
Not while I was pooping.
That's yeah, it's got to be while you're pooping, though.
Oh. All right, new life goal.
New life goal. Need a butterfly to land on me while I'm pooping in the outdoors.
Yep. Maybe it'll happen at Rob's resort.
Maybe. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So they let me poop outside there?
Nope. They have bathrooms.
What if I use a wag bag?
Maybe. Just set. These would actually work great with bumper dumpers. Just FYI.
That's true.
So if anybody has a bumper dumper, if you always wanted to use one with your morning coffee or something, grab some packed wag bags and hang out on your bumper dumper in the middle of camp drinking your coffee while everyone stares at you.
I got a new idea for a YouTube video.
Or
one
we could
of
do
these guys releasing these, I want to do your video.
Well, all right, Jake. Tell we have a bunch of good ideas. The other fun thing is you could back up your vehicle to a campfire and use a bumper dumper around the campfire at night with all your friends.
Yeah.
They should have that as one of the bingo cards.
They should.
Friendly bumper dumper campfire.
You shouldn't pee in that, though.
Well, that's true. That's what the fire's for. You get everybody together and so you can put the fire out.
Put the fire out, and then you, don't throw the log on the fire, though.
Yeah. No, that would not be good.
If you know what log I'm talking about.
I don't. Can you explain?
No.
Please.
Boneless brown trout.
Boneless brown trout. Code brown.
Yeah,
we got code brown at the campfire, guys. We got code brown. Anyway, speaking of campfires, we're supposed to be doing a talk here. I got to go and do MC out at Cantina for the con last weekend.
Yes.
2 weekends ago now. And I had my notes from last year, which I got to add a few things to, which is pretty cool.
Nice. Okay. So RTF did a few more things this last year?
RTF did a couple things in 2024, but I got some more information on like the private property.
Okay.
Ken Hauer, who's the current president of RTF.
And a guitarist.
He's in 2 bands. And also Hauer's Gaping Hole is named after him. Just FYI.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Hauer's Gaping Hole.
How big is it?
It's a pretty gaping hole.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. It can fit a vehicle. So that should tell you something. Anyways, I got to sit down and talk with Ken on the phone for like an hour about some background information about the private property, RTF's private property that the new Granite View Loop is on.
Yeah.
And so he's actually been involved with that. That's one of the things he first got involved with RTF when he was like, I don't want to sit around and ask what the fuck just happened anymore. So I think he came on board with RTF in 2009, 10 or 11, something like that. And the conversation about the private property purchase from Mark Smith happened in, I believe, 2010.
Sure.
And so Ken, the first committee he served on was the private property committee to try and find a way to get access to this landlocked property.
Okay.
Through different deals with either the county easements, Forest Service easement, private property owners in the area easements, whatever it is, however they can get access and create an access route to that property. He was kind of on the committee to help figure out.
Okay. Got it.
And so he knows all about the private property from start to finish and where it's at now. So it was fun to kind of pick his brain and get to add some more things to my notes from a history of RTF and the trail. So, and then John Arns got to write up a little history blurb about Cantina.
Oh,
so I've got that as well. So,
sweet. So we're going to mash those things together.
Yeah.
And make an episode today.
Yeah, make another kind of historical episode. There's some stuff on here that we definitely have not talked about in the past yet and haven't heard about in the past from our other Rubicon history episodes. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to throw it in and kind of create another Cantina centralized history lesson for everybody out there.
RTF, Rob's Resort history lesson.
So let's see here. Let's start with Cantina for the Con.
Okay.
Because that's the event that just happened. In 2004, Rubicon Trail Foundation officially started as an organization.
Okay.
Which means this year is their 20th anniversary.
Correct. Yeah.
Rubicon Trail Foundation has been around for 20 years.
Good math.
Spending money and doing some cool shit on the Rubicon Trail for us, for the public, mainly for Jimmy and I. That's really what it comes down to. So, no, they started in 2004, right?
Yes, that's what you said.
In 2005, they realized they needed funds. They needed money, right, to run an organization. So there was a different organization called TDO. Which is this dysfunctional organization.
I like it.
I don't know where that started. I have no history on TDO. It's just what John Arns put down here. It's this dysfunctional organization decided to raise money for the Rubicon by selling hamburgers at a barbecue style event at the trailhead at Loon Lake. So kind of Spillway trailhead area.
Yeah.
That quickly evolved from hamburgers into a taco feed.
Oh,
because off-roaders love tacos, right?
I guess so.
And they're
Do
quick
they love
and easy
tacos more than hamburgers, though?
I don't know. I think tacos just easier to make and eat on a trail.
I'll agree.
Yeah.
But I would assume that there are more hamburgers and hot dogs eaten on the trail than there is tacos.
I'd say hot dog. Maybe hamburgers too. I don't know. Yeah.
That's my guess.
Okay. I don't know. Anyways, it turned into a taco feed.
I'm not disappointed with that.
I'm not either.
No.
It's good tacos. Yeah. Although I had nachos at the Cantina. I didn't have
that
tacos.
either.
So anyways, it quickly evolved into a taco feed, which they ended up naming Cantina for the Con. So the event was held in the Spillway at Loon Lake. So 2005 was the first year that Cantina was held.
Wow.
And they raised about $5,000 selling tacos.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But was that being put on by this dysfunctional group or whatever?
Yep, this dysfunctional organization.
Okay.
Yep. And so they raised $5,000 for the Rubicon Trail, and they decided that year to donate it to the brand new Rubicon Trail Foundation, because it's kind of this new concept of a nonprofit organization to help with things going on the Rubicon Trail. So, you could, if you make money, $5,000, where do you put it towards? If you're raising it for a Rubicon Trail, but there's no entities that really take care of the trail, what do you do with that money then?
Yeah.
Who safeguards it?
Yeah, somebody that is dysfunctional.
It's a dysfunctional person who opens up a new bank account and pays interest on it and everything.
Leaves it there for the rest of its life.
Exactly.
I do want that organization name, though. You could kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah, right?
You're like, oh, I don't know. Let's just try this.
You could also run like really random podcasts if you really wanted to.
Absolutely.
Hint out there, everybody.
You can just do whatever you want as long as it's dysfunctional.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. No function whatsoever, or just like what is?
Well, that was a function.
That I know, right? That's kind of what I'm like.
It was a dysfunction.
It was a dysfunction function.
Yeah.
So they donated $5,000 that they earned that first year of Cantina to the brand new Rubicon Trail Foundation, which was about a year old, a little bit less than a year old.
Cool. That's very nice of you guys.
So first Cantina for the Con, not done by RTF.
Wow.
But by a different organization that was looking to raise money for the Rubicon Trail. That was right in the heyday of everything almost got shut down due to human waste, due to erosion issues, water control issues, all that waterboard stuff.
Yep.
So they needed an answer, a solution to help solve a problem. And RTF happened to be a very needed thing at the time.
Right. Absolutely. And I wonder how many of those people were actually wheelers in the dysfunctional group. I mean,
probably quite a bit.
Probably a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I wonder how they got that group together to do that. I mean, it just, because the name has nothing to do with off-roading, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting correlation.
Yeah.
That it all worked out that way.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if anybody in RTF was in that group.
Probably. I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I could probably call John and get an answer on that. But.
Sure. Okay. So 2005, $5,000 donated.
Yep.
By a non-RTF group to RTF.
Yep.
To start the ball rolling for RTF, really, is what it sounds like.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So they continued doing the event, Cantina for the Con, until about 2010.
Yeah.
And then that's when it became too big for TDO to handle themselves.
Oh, okay.
As a an organization that doesn't really have any kind of legal status. So it's not a good idea for them to collect funds and hold on to funds and raise funds without doing anything with them immediately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the event became a little bit too big. So they knew they couldn't handle the event with the small club that they were, and they approached RTF to take it over in 2010.
Cool.
So I guess after 2010.
Yeah.
And then in 2011, RTF took over and ran and organized their own Cantina for the Con.
Wow.
So
2011 was the first time RTF ran Cantina for the Con.
Yep.
All right. And it stayed there in the Spillway for quite a number of years.
Yeah, 7 years. So from 2011 to 2018,
yeah,
it was in the Spillway, pretty much the same format that it originally had back in 2005.
Yeah.
So
it was fun.
Yeah.
I've been to a few of them that were in the Spillway.
I've never been to a Cantina that was in the Spillway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were good. It was a chaos because, I mean, there's not a lot of room on the sides of the roads or anything. And they were in that big overflow spillway too, right? So they had things lined up there, but there's rigs going in and out, people trying to park everywhere. You know, you're just all these rigs parked all over the hills and, just chaos and people wheeling. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I think it's much more organized now than once they moved it up to Rob's Resort.
Yep.
But it was, Cantina for the Con, right on the Con in the Spillway.
Yeah.
It was a fun time.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard a lot of stories about Cantina for the Con.
Yeah.
And I'm sad that I didn't really get into wheeling on the Rubicon until after that point, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I know people that used to go out there from like way back in the day, probably. And I mean, I'm talking maybe early teens, and they would go and stay at the campground, right?
The
right
North Shore Campground.
The North Shore Campground, and they would have a campsite there, and they would just walk down to the Spillway, and they dropped like hundreds of dollars for like the raffle and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big event. And I know that was, you mentioned the parking and all the vehicles everywhere.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of horror stories about people parking up on the dams and causing a lot of traffic issues due to just how many vehicles are out there. I mean, there was reports of upwards of thousands of people out there at one time, kind of thing. Essentially, and unfortunately, the event became too big again. So it was originally the first too big for TDO to handle. Then it became too big for the Spillway to handle.
Yeah.
And when that happened, El Dorado National Forest pulled the permit.
Oh, okay.
So Cantina could not happen down in the Spillway anymore.
Yeah.
And they cited reasons of parking, crowds, and safety. So they didn't have a fallback. And that was in 2019 when they pulled the permit. They pulled the permit pretty close to the event happening.
Yeah.
And so there was nowhere else for them to hold the event at short notice. And so they had to just cancel Cantina in 2019.
Yeah. I think I don't remember that, but I believe it. Yeah.
Yep. And then 2020 was the year of the COVID.
Oh, yes, I remember that one.
So Cantina didn't happen again in 2020. And 2021 was the year of the Caldor.
Oh.
And so Cantina didn't happen again in 2021.
Okay. Yeah.
However, there was no El Dorado National Forest wasn't willing to give the permit back to Cantina to be able to do the event down in the Spillway.
Okay. Yeah.
So after kind of 2019, they pulled the permit. 2020 COVID, 2021 Caldor and for EDNF didn't want to give them a permit anymore. It was kind of looking like Cantina might not come back.
Right.
And everybody was kind of like, well, bummer. That was a really fun event. And, let's, I guess, replace it with something else or move on to something else. I don't know, whatever it was. There was kind of this vacuum, this void now, right?
Sure.
Diane Hawk.
Yeah.
You know Diane?
I do.
With the Highlanders?
Yep.
She ended up being out at an event at Rob's Resort for something. I think it might have been Axel Fest or another event at Rob's.
One of the music ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she ended up talking to Shane and Craig, the owners of Rob's Resort, and was like, "Hey, what do you guys think about this idea? We're at the point where Cantina is too big to hold it on public lands anymore. We can't get a permit from the land managers. So the next option is private property. What do you guys thoughts about it?" And kind of they molded over and eventually said, "Yes, but we have a lot of stipulations." And so the first year back was 2022.
Okay.
And it was at Rob's Resort.
Nice.
0 charge from Rob's to hold the event there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Huge shout out to Rob's. And it all kind of, for the most part, worked out. There was some communication that RTF and first year working with new partnerships, right?
Yeah. Blues. Yeah.
Yep.
Sure, for sure.
But the event turned out awesome. Everybody loved the venue, and Rob's was invited to RTF back for 2023.
Oh, cool.
And then 2024.
Yep.
And so it sounds like I got to sit down and chat with Shane and Craig this year at the end of the event. And it sounds like they're very happy with everything, and they're totally looking to continue it in 2025.
Perfect.
So
thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, a little bit of history for Cantina and how it started and how it came to be, and then how it almost came to not be anymore.
Yeah.
And then how cool it was that Rob's Resort stepped up to offer their awesome venue free of charge in order to ensure that Cantina continues happening.
That's
into
really
the future.
cool. So is it still free of charge?
It is still. Rob's Resort is not charging RTF to use the venue
property
for Cantina for the con.
It's rad.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Fundraiser opportunity for sure.
Yep.
But that's really cool of them to do that to help out. I mean, and that really what that's doing is it's allowing more funds to go to RTF.
Absolutely.
Right. Because the RTF has to pay for the food, has to pay for probably the bands, and pay for, in some cases the venue. Yep. But this one, you don't have to pay for the venue. So that whatever that cost is getting
about $2,000 to $3,000 to use Rob's for a weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I was Rob's, I'd be like, yeah, I would charge you $2,000 to $3,000, but then I'm going to donate $2,000 to $3,000 back.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be a tax write-off for me.
And yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do know apparently there's a lot of deals that go down kind of like that.
I'm sure.
So,
okay.
So that's a little bit of the history of Cantina.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
It's a cool little backstory that, I didn't really know how it started.
Yeah, right.
Or where I know. Because I think I attended in 2018. I think I attended the last one.
Oh, yeah, before everything shut down for a bit.
I did 2017 too. I don't remember. But I've done some of the Spillway ones. And then I do remember there was a gap.
Yeah.
Before they started up again at Rob's. So, but that's, I had no idea about this dysfunctional organization or that they even had a part of it.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I appreciate sharing that. That's kind of neat to learn some of that history.
Yeah.
So you also had some more additional history about the con, or what did John give you?
But that was Cantina.
Oh,
what
John gave me that. Okay.
The other stuff is kind of my notes about sort of RTF and history of the Rubicon Trail.
Okay.
Based on what we've learned from John and Merlin, from my connections of sitting down and talking with Ken Hauer of Hauer's Gaping Hole. So there's a lot of really cool stuff here. The first and foremost, the biggest thing that I like to make sure that everybody knows is how we have the trail protected.
Okay.
How it's protected for the public, right?
Yes.
And that's through a law called RS-2477. So RS-2477 was a law from back in the 1863.
Wow. Okay.
That the federal government said there are a ton of roads kind of just willy-nilly burned into random stuff.
Yeah.
Into the terrain. We need to kind of get an inventory of everything and know what this country has.
Yeah.
In terms of drivable routes or I guess passable routes, because there was horse and carriage at that time.
Yeah.
And so they put out the call to all the states and said, and the counties, and said, you need to do an inventory, and whatever you do as your inventory and claim of existing roads as of now, then you will get to maintain that as a county road.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
If you guys don't claim it, then it's going to be the federal government's, and we will probably shut down most of it.
Sure. Okay.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because the federal government didn't want to spend all the money on keeping everything up, right? Maintaining everything. So that's the essence behind RS-2477. So in 1863, all the counties in the United States were tasked with figuring out what roads they wanted, what roads they didn't want.
Yeah.
And the Rubicon was around in 1863.
Well, it was the main route to Tahoe at that time.
Yeah, it was from Georgetown to Lake Bigler.
Yes.
Right? That was an old trading route.
Yep.
From Georgetown up into Tahoe. At the turn of the...
Which Lake Bigler is Buck Island Lake, right?
No.
Oh, no, that's actually Tahoe. That was the original name Tahoe. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. You looked at me funny. I was like, oh, shit, that was completely wrong. Yeah, that was. So, and then they renamed Lake Bigler to Lake Tahoe.
Yep.
Yeah, so Georgetown to Tahoe.
Yep. So at the turn of the century, so from 18th to the 19th century, 19th to 20th century,
yes,
it was one of the main 3 routes up to Tahoe still. And that was Highway 80, Highway 50, and the Rubicon Trail.
Right.
Or Georgetown to Bigler Road.
Yeah.
Georgetown to Tahoe Road, as it got named after Lake Tahoe changed its name.
Oh, okay.
So the El Dorado County adopted the Rubicon Trail as an RS-2477 route finally in 1887.
Okay.
So 24 years after the RS-2477 laws kind of went into effect, but it got grandfathered in because it was a route during that time.
Got it.
And so El Dorado County said, "Oh, we want this. It is definitely a route that we use that is of importance to commerce. So we would like to claim it as a county road."
Got it.
And so in 1887,
they were horses and carriages going up the Rubicon Trail.
Yep.
Which was called Georgetown to Bigler Road.
Yep. The Georgetown Wagon Road was
the technical name.
Yep.
And the route is still out there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because the route has changed throughout the years for various reasons. But there are supposedly there's still tracks out on the countryside out there that show the route.
I have the GPS tracks for the original Georgetown Wagon Road. And I still want to make a trip out to the Rubicon just to hike that road, that original trail.
I think that'd be fun.
There's a few spots I've been told where you can still see where the wagon wheels have burned a route into the rocks, into the granite. So I really want to go do that. It's still on my bucket list. But yeah, that was around 1887 is when that got established as a county road. And because it is a county road and not a Forest Service road, it's not BLM property, it's a county road in the middle of El Dorado National Forest. The county maintains it and the county gets say over what happens.
Right.
And so at somewhere around, it was 1900s, early 1900s, where the county line between Placer and El Dorado, up on the Tahoe side, moved. The county line moved at some point. They have maps from like 1880s, 1890s that showed the county line in one spot, and then 1900s, 1910s, something like that, 1920s, they have maps showing the county line in another spot.
Oh.
And they haven't figured out at what point in that time period did the county line change.
Do they know why?
They think it was Placer wanted a land. They did a land exchange with El Dorado County, and Placer wanted something for water rights.
Got it.
And so when the county line changed for those water rights, that's when they think it happened. Placer took over a large chunk of the trail, pretty much from the Miller gravesite at the bottom of Cadillac, all the way up to Tahoma staging.
Right. Okay.
So
yeah, and I know
early 1900s when that happened.
Because when you're at Ellis Creek, the Placer County line is only like 100 yards off of the trail at that point.
It's very close.
You're in Nevada County, but
El Dorado.
Oh, thank you. Yep. El Dorado County. Nevada's on the above Placer.
Yep.
But Placer County's just there. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the trail teeters on the county line for a while before it passes the actual county line and goes over and changes. So that's been 138 years of protection for the trail to make sure that it stays around as a main route for people to travel.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's wild.
And then we have a lot of the history of the springs from our episode was it 220?
Yep.
The Rubicon Trail history with Merlin and John. And so if you guys want to know some of the history about the springs during that time, early 1900s, late 1800s, go back, listen to episode 220. You'll get a lot of the history there. A cool thing that RTF is doing right now is they're putting a lot of focus into their YouTube channel.
Yes.
And coming out with some really cool historical videos about the Rubicon Trail and historical education about the Rubicon Trail. So that's another great resource. If you guys want to know more about the Rubicon Trail history, go check out a bunch of these videos that RTF is putting out on their YouTube channel, just Rubicon Trail Foundation on YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're starting doing that. A big project they've been working on. We have a couple episodes, 220 and 344 on our podcast.
Was it 3? Yeah, I think it was 344.
That's what I have in my notes. I hope that's correct. That's what I've been telling people.
That's correct.
So yeah, 220 and I think 344. So there's some really cool history out there about the Rubicon Trail. A little bit about Rubicon Trail Foundation, but mainly about the trail. The interesting part is that because it is an RS-2477 route, which gives us our protection, it also means that there's a lot of government agencies and jurisdictions that care about the Rubicon Trail and have a say in what happens on the Rubicon Trail.
It is 344.
It is 344. Sweet.
Yes.
I got it right. So just for some stats about the trail.
Okay.
You ready?
Can you phrase them as questions?
Okay. How many government jurisdictions are there on the Rubicon Trail?
I'm going to go with 6.
Ooh, close. There's 5.
Dang it. I was going to say
That was
it.
close.
And then I went up one more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it's El Dorado County, Placer County.
Sure.
El Dorado National Forest controls all the land on either side of the trail that the trail passes through.
Sure.
Tahoe National Forest controls all the land that the Placer County route travels through.
Right.
And then I believe, I guess technically El Dorado County Sheriff would fall under El Dorado County.
Okay.
Because El Dorado County is technically 3 different entities within that. So
Got it.
I believe the last one would be California State Parks.
So there's 6.
So no, that's 5.
Oh.
El Dorado County Sheriff would fall under El Dorado County. Yeah.
Bummer.
So I believe California State Parks is the other one.
I'm going with I still win.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Because California State Parks kind of oversees the OHV fund.
Okay.
For California, right? So 5 different jurisdictions on the trail.
Wow. Good. Okay.
What percentage of the trail is private property?
Ooh, that's a good question. So if the trail is roughly 20 miles, I would guess that about 3 miles is private. And so that would be, I don't know,
12%.
12%.
Yeah.
Is that what 3 out of 20 is?
Roughly.
Okay. 12%.
40% of the trail.
Wow.
It's way more than I thought it was.
Okay. I wonder if there's a lot of private land on the way out from Tahoma.
I don't know. Most of the private land I know about is around the bowl.
Yes.
Spider Lake.
Okay.
Spider Lake and Indian Trail, I think, has quite a bit of private property on it.
I didn't know anything about Indian Trail.
And then the Springs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another big one.
But each of those is a mile, like maybe. So that's 3 miles in there?
I think the private property at Spider Lake is a lot bigger than what people think.
Okay.
Because it technically extends all the way down to where the Rubicon RTF's property cuts off of the trail.
Okay.
At the bottom of Indian Trail.
Yeah.
That's private. That's part of the Spider Lake property.
Oh, I didn't think of any of the RTF loop stuff.
Well, RTF is the RTF loop is not on the trail.
Okay. The easements don't count.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a big chunk of trail still that's left over. Because I mean, the actual wheeling part of the trail is what, 8-9 miles?
That's one of my questions next.
Is that the next one?
We can do it next.
Okay, go to that one because I have a follow-up question.
How many miles from Loon Lake Spillway to observation point.
Okay, I'm going to go with, actually, I'm going to say 12 miles.
Ooh, 13.
Yeah, okay.
13 miles.
So, but of that 13 miles, I mean, the Spillway, let's just say, I mean, the Granite Bowl, let's say it's a mile. It's probably less of private land, right? The Spider Lake all the way down, let's say Spider Lake to Buck Island. Let's just blanket it and say that's all private.
Okay.
Which it probably is not all private, but let's just blanket it. From Little Sluice to Buck Island. What do you have? 3 miles?
I would guess 2.5.
2.5?
2 to 3.
So, okay, so we're up to, let's just go bigger and say we're up to 4.
Okay.
RTF properties, a mile?
Maybe?
Yeah. So 5. So where's the that's almost
Rubicon Springs.
That's 5 of 13.
Rubicon Springs.
Well, so I wasn't saying I meant Rubicon Springs, not RTF property.
The Rubicon Springs property is quite a bit of mileage.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it starts at property line, right?
Oh.
So you start at property line and then Sawtooth is before property line.
Yes, barely though.
So yeah, I mean, you're talking from property line all the way to Cadillac pretty much.
Yeah, before the bridge and all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's, all right. But I still think that even if it's 7 miles of 13 to get to 40%, that's a chunk of the Tahoma out.
That is a good chunk of Tahoma. So how long is it from Loon Lake to Tahoma?
Well, I think it's around 20.
22.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, that stretch from the top of observation to Tahoma is 9 miles.
Right.
Yeah. So for a chunk of that's
if we're
be
7 of 13, that's 50%. But that still means that there's private property on, because if it was 40% of 20-ish miles, so that's what? 9 miles?
Yeah, 9 to 10 miles would be what it is.
Yep. Okay. There's a chunk up there that I don't know about.
Yeah. So that's the mileage and private property percentage on the trail.
Okay.
How many vested entities are there that depend on the trail for some sort of income?
Oh, okay. That's better than how many invested entities are there that enjoy the trail.
Yeah.
Like that's infinite.
Yeah, pretty much.
That get money, that it require or need money. So would RTF count as an entity for this? Okay.
Yep. So that would be.
Well, I'm going to go with RTF. There's a bunch of there's probably government agencies right? The counties. There's and Jeepers.
Tour guide
companies. Oh, man.
Private property owners.
Do they get money off of that?
I mean, well, they depend. I guess they don't technically get money, but they get.
So are you saying like the Chevron at Fish Camp is in this list?
No, we're not going to count that.
Okay.
Yeah. This is actually direct impact of depending on the trail for some sort of.
So like Ice House Resort though counts.
I don't think they do.
Okay.
No.
Well, then the number is going to be lower than I thought. I'll go with like 100.
No. Oh, 17.
17.
So 17 different organizations, entities.
Okay.
Have some sort of vested interest in the trail in terms of getting a say in what happens on the trail.
Oh, getting a say.
I guess. So that's another way of putting it.
Okay. That changes thing instead of as it. I assumed invested interest was more for money.
That's typically how it's used, but it's also kind of like an ownership share of the trail, right? And I don't want to say an ownership share, but yeah, they typically are going to get a say on what happens in the trail.
Got it. Okay, 17. So yeah, there's the 5 government agencies. Jeepers is Jeepers one, or is it Jeepers and Jeep Jamboree get the 2 different things in this case?
Jamboree. The Georgetown, the real Jamboree.
Yeah.
They would be one, and they do Jeepers, Jeep, and the side-by-side, I believe now.
And then probably isn't there a group of those for the people that own the Spider Lake property?
The Spider Lake property, RTP.
RTP. They're probably one. So we're up to 6, I think. Yeah. So I don't know what the last one would be.
Rubicon Soda Springs. That's a private property organization.
Oh, okay.
There's the Tim Green property, private property down there.
So a bunch of the private property owners.
All the private property owners are a separate vested interest.
Yep.
JJUSA, Rubicon Trail Adventures.
Yep.
The Duradefs.
Oh. Yep.
There's, let's see, California State Parks, the OHV, OHMVR Commission, El Dorado County Sheriff.
Sure.
El Dorado County. Yeah, the five. So,
okay.
17 people have to coordinate and agree on stuff.
Wow.
17 organizations, I should say, have to coordinate and agree on stuff to make things happen on the trail.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. No wonder Vicky was always upset.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot, man. El Dorado County, the Parks and Rec person is typically the one that has the most power, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so they ultimately have the final say. I think technically the Board of Supervisors for El Dorado County has the final say of what really happens on most of the trail.
Sure.
But I mean, they get funding from California State Parks. So if they piss off state parks, then they don't get a lot of the OHV funding anymore. RTF gives a ton of funding as well, grant matching. So if they piss off RTF, then RTF can pull funding out of projects. If the private the tour guides pay a lot in permit fees.
Yeah.
To go through the trail. So if they get pissed off, then they lose a lot of funding there. And if El Dorado County does something that the tour guides don't agree with, like Placer County, I believe, is Tahoe National Forest, I think, increased a permit big time on every single vehicle that came through the trail under a tour guide company.
Interesting. We're like, all right, we're going to Rubicon Springs and back.
Pretty much. That's kind of what they said. They said, okay, our trip ends at Rubicon Springs. Whatever people do from there is up to them to get away from that.
Perfect.
So it's funny. It's so like there's all these different organizations that just creates a lot of infighting because everybody has different goals, right?
Yeah.
How many Adopt a Trail clubs are there?
Oh, geez. I'm going to go with 15.
Ooh, close. 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wavering between 13 and 15. I figured it was almost one per mile, but we didn't need it for all of the miles out. So I was going to say 20 originally, but then that's where my thought was. And I was like, it's not that many. There's probably less. Yeah. So, all right.
So 14 Adopt Trail clubs.
Trail
and that's not including Friends of the Rubicon.
Okay.
So technically, I guess 15 because Friends of the Rubicon does a lot of the work from Tahoe into observation.
All right.
Let's see. So that's kind of the stats of just how many people are really involved and why the politics on the Rubicon Trail and what needs to get done on the trail is a lot of times very difficult to get everybody aligned with.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. The first Jeepers Jamboree, what year was that?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm going to go with like 1950.
Oh, close. 1952.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the first one. That was where Mark Smith came up with this idea of raising funds for Georgetown.
Yeah.
Because Georgetown was in a severe bankruptcy issue.
Yep.
And he was like, I have this idea. Let's run some guided tours through the Rubicon Trail and make money on it. So they took kind of a test group out on the Rubicon to see how it would go 1952. And then 1953 was the first inaugural year of Jeepers Jamboree, I guess.
Okay.
So, but 1952 was the first real run Jeepers Jamboree run, right?
Got it. Okay.
So 52, that means 2027 is the 75th anniversary.
Wow.
For Jeepers Jamboree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang. Yep. Not that far off.
Not 2 years.
Yeah.
Which means if I know anything about Bob Sweeney, he's planning some big, ridiculous stuff for Jeepers Jamboree for the 75th anniversary.
I might need to get a Rubicon sticker.
Right. That's why I'm like, all right, let's go make sure we're in on the 2027 year. So if anybody's looking for a really great, I think a fun year to do Jeepers Jamboree, make sure you set your clocks for whenever registration opens for that 2027 year.
Right.
It's going to be a big year. So
I'll just go as an employee for Moreflate.
There you go. Yeah, you can travel with Ozzy. Do the booth setup. So, 1952. So 75 years coming up. Let's see. So here's a cool fun one.
Okay.
And these kind of the next stuff we're going to be talking about is stuff that RTF has done and spent money on to help ensure that the trail stays open for access, right?
Sure.
To the public. And so in 2010, RTF purchased the RTF private property from Mark Smith.
Yes.
With the stipulation specifically from Mark that said, we'll let you guys buy this if you promise to keep the property, don't sell it, and keep it open for public usage.
Oh,
create some sort of access so the public can go in and enjoy this section of property. RTF said, okay, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
So that was in 2010. It was $350,000.
Wow. Okay.
So they closed escrow in 2010 for it, and then worked diligently until 2021.
Oh,
Major. I think 2021 is when the Granite View Loop opened.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So 11 years for them to get the property from Mark Smith and create an access route through easement agreements. That's really what took a long time.
Yeah.
In order to get down access to the property so that they can set up wheeling opportunities.
I'm questioning the 2021 figure.
Okay.
Because I worked on Trash Can Hill, like 17 or 18?
Possibly. So 2021 is once they got all the signage up. And the Granite View Loop was officially open with winch points and all the yellow signs and
got it. Okay.
Of where the route was. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I want to say they got I should have had that down. I don't think I do have it down. I want to say it was either 17 or 18 that they finally got the easement agreement with the private property.
Yeah.
In order to have that access point off of the trail right there.
Okay.
To get down into the RTF property.
Right.
But, so let's talk about where the RTF property is, right?
Sure.
The turnoff in the driveway is down at the bottom of Indian Trail, right?
Yes, it is.
Right at that tree that says the sign for the private property this way, there's one of the giant cube granite mile markers.
Yeah.
It says mile marker 4.5.
Okay.
So from Loon Lake Spillway to that point there is 4.5 miles of wheeling on the Rubicon, right?
Yes.
So if you go from there down into the private property where the Connex is.
Yes.
And then do the loop.
Uh-huh.
And then come back to that point.
Sure.
It's 4.4 miles.
Oh, that's funny.
Right?
Yeah.
So literally by working diligently to get this property from Mark Smith and get it open for public access and for some pretty bitchin' wheeling opportunities on the Rubicon.
I've still never done it.
You haven't done the loop yet? Jimmy Jet.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed to know you right now. No, I'm just kidding. It's some really awesome.
Yeah. Everybody that's talked about it says it's absolutely phenomenal.
It's pretty cool. But anyways, so the trail to that point is 4.5 miles.
Right.
And then down to the property, do the loop, back up to that point is 4.4 miles. So by working on this project for 11 years, they effectively doubled the amount of wheeling you can do on the Rubicon up to that point in the trail.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty cool. And so that was a big undertaking that RTF has been doing since 2010, right? Been working on.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you think about it, what was it? It was 9 miles to observation.
13.
Oh, 13 miles to observation. So that's almost that's not quite double.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, or a third.
It's a little over a third. Yeah.
Yeah. So
so 4.5
pretty much have
would be 9.
added around a third of a trail.
Mm-hmm.
The trail by that loop. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So pretty neat stuff. That's one of the cool things RTF did and has been working on and finally got open, and $350,000 plus extra money in different costs associated with trying to get that open for 11 years, right?
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go back to 2001.
Okay.
And 2001 was the first big waterboard project.
Sure.
And that was 31 water bars and water crossings were put on the trail between Observation and Tahoma. So on that Placers, that Placer section.
Yeah.
31 water bars, and pretty much all of them were done by Friends of the Rubicon.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
it's a lot of shoveling.
Yep. The county, Tahoe National Forest, the water board all kind of got together and said, here's what we want a waterboard water crossing to look like, what you have to do for it, and the engineering of it. And here's where we want them on. Give them all blueprints to exactly where to be placing everything. And then Friends of the Rubicon got together and installed 31 water bars.
That's wild.
In 2001. Yeah.
Dang. Okay. Well, good job, Friends of the Rubicon.
Yep. And that was pre-RTF days, right? RTF started in 2004. So in 2005, the first water bars between Loon Lake and Observation were put in. And that was the Jackhammer and Jesus water bar, which was, I believe those are, no, I'm not sure where those are at.
Okay.
So those were the first water bar put on the actual trail. In 2007, the first Gabion was installed at Buck Island.
Okay.
Yeah. So are you familiar with Gabions?
No.
Gabions are what we installed at Fordyce. We laid all the rock and then put the gate, fencing,
Sure.
fencing over it.
Yep.
And then that all kind of gets solidified in either with rock or concrete or something else. So
yep. And so you got rock and fence and rock and concrete all kind of mixed into each other.
Yep.
Right.
So it's it's a way to solidify the trail in order to help with erosion issues on the trail. So
yeah, because they found that removing rock causes more issues. So unfortunately, the best way to do it is sort of fill the problem.
Yep. Yeah. Fill the problem and solidify the hillside.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was 2007, the first Gabion. In 2010, that was when RTF closed escrow on the private property there for $350,000 from Mark. In 2011, there was a big repair on Cadillac Hill that RTF did some grant matching, some fund matching for. Oh, also in 2010, I believe 2011 or 12, one of those two is when Black Tie and Boots started.
Okay.
Because Cantina was already going on.
Yeah.
And when they agreed on this $350,000, they were very concerned about making their mortgage payments from only the funds coming in from Cantina. So they started Black Tie and Boots to help with funds for the rest of the year because all the money from Cantina was getting dumped into that private property mortgage.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. So let's see, 2012 is when there was a new easement agreement on the Rubicon. So the easement agreement for the trail is typically, it's those 5 jurisdictions that are saying, if this happens, if these conditions are met, that's when we shut the trail down.
Okay.
Otherwise, it stays open as a county road, right?
Yes.
And so the easement agreement, there was a lot of people in the room that day. RTF had a lot of people there. And that's when they said that the Department of Transportation, the sheriff, and the Board of Supervisors all had to come together and agree in order to shut the trail down.
Correct.
That these particular conditions were being met. And those conditions were standing water and sediment issues or snow, I believe, in 5 spots on the trail.
Correct. Yeah, 5 key locations.
Yeah, and we've talked about that and those details in it was early this year, because in 2023, that's when the trail closed, the winter of 2023.
Was that this year?
Was it this year?
I think it was it was early 23 and when it all happened. It was New Year's day or New Year's Eve.
Yeah, they were just going on holiday.
I think it was 22 to 23.
Was it 22, 23? I think that's right. Yeah, the winter of 22, because Vicky was already retired before this year. So that was a 22 to 23, and then 2023 around, what was it, March, April, May? Was it as late as May? They came up with a new agreement.
Correct.
So in 2012,
because somebody broke the agreement.
Because somebody broke the 2012 agreement.
Yeah.
And so since somebody broke it, they were like, okay, well, obviously this agreement doesn't work. Let's renegotiate and figure out a new way to make it work.
Right.
So, and that 2012 agreement got redone. And in 2023, there's a new agreement with everybody as to what conditions need to be met in order for the trail to shut down.
Right. Thank you.
Which, again, RTF, the private property owners, a lot of people had a say in that new agreement, and it came out very favorable for off-roaders and maintaining access to the trail.
Right.
So Let's see. That was 2012. 2013, there were 9 more toilets installed on the trail. RTF put up a bunch of money for that. 2016, there was a major rebuild on the Green Bridge at the Springs.
Okay. Yeah.
And so the Green Bridge, I think you and I have talked about it. It looks like a pretty stout, robust bridge, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's built out of like I-beams and stuff. It's
some pretty thick I-beams.
Yeah.
The thing about that bridge is it's designed for vertical loads.
Okay.
Right? And so it's designed and engineered to keep it from falling down.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, it's designed to have the weight on it, whether it's the weight of a vehicle or all the snow that falls in there. It's designed to stand and withhold that weight.
Yep. Unfortunately, they designed the bridge and the engineering of it in such a way that it makes an amazing flex ramp.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
So that was an unforeseen consequence of building the bridge that way. It's very strong vertically, but it is not designed for lateral loads on the railings and the sides of the bridge, the girders that really are the main structure of the bridge.
Yeah.
So the more and more that we as users, as the public, as whoever is on the trail uses that bridge to flex out on, the quicker that bridge is going to fall down.
Yes.
Because the girders are not designed and engineered to withstand side loads like that. So don't do it, people.
Yes.
Please don't. Just don't use that bridge as a flex ramp. As good of a flex ramp as it looks.
It really does. Yeah.
Please don't use it. Otherwise, we're going to have to pay for a new bridge before too long, much sooner than we should. And that bridge was just redone in 2016.
Yes.
So it's only been 8 years. Stop flexing out on it, please.
When was the bridge put in? Do you know that one?
The original bridge, I would imagine back in the early 1800s. I mean, late
that green bridge?
The green one? Yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't that. I mean, it wasn't 1800s because there's with the plaque at the Rubicon, when you enter the Springs, right? Mm-hmm. It has 2 sections. It has a thank you for the donations for the bridge and then a thank you for the people that helped redo the bridge.
Oh, interesting.
Right?
Okay.
And so whenever the first one, I don't know what the year was, but all those people on that list in the top section helped put in the bridge originally. And then it has the 2000, what was it? 16
for the redo?
For the redo.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the top one was then when it was originally done. That's a good question. I wonder where the trail went before that bridge.
You went through the river? I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. That's all private property right there. So,
it's
good
deep,
question.
though.
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't want to drive through right there.
Yeah. I don't know where you went. I don't know if you looped up and around and by the log cab or by the cabin and came in that route.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You got to go through the river somewhere.
Yeah,
though.
somewhere though. I mean, there's no way. Yeah.
So I don't know.
So 2016 was the rebuild on the Green Bridge. 2018, RTF spent $15,000 to fly rock up to Cadillac Hill for repair.
Mm-hmm.
In 2020, they did another $32,000 for more rock to go up to Cadillac Hill for another repair.
Wow.
In 2020 as well, there was a big bathroom repair project on the trail where the county wanted walls around the bathrooms to make it so critters are more difficult to get into the outhouses, right?
Okay.
So that big project happened in 2020. Also in 2020 is when the ham radio repeater got put in.
Oh.
I guess I should say that's when the really nice, expensive ham radio got put in. They were running
the new ham radio repeater.
Yeah, the Daniels repeater. That's when that one got put in. But that was $5,000 project.
Yeah.
That RTF helps the sponsor.
You don't have when all the rock got dropped in before at winter camp?
I don't. You helped with that project though.
I helped one time with it. In like 17, but there was already a lot of rock there before I did that help. But yeah, that was so it was probably 16, 15, 16, 17 timeline.
Okay.
Because I don't think that's the Slow County crawlers section.
Mm-hmm.
And when I helped in 17, they dropped more rock, but there was already a bunch of rock there.
Yeah.
And then, so I don't know what happened before that.
That's a good question.
And I forgot who they got it from. Zombies?
Pirates? The rock zombies?
Or maybe pirates?
The rock?
That section. from winter camp to Little Sluice.
They picked it up from another club.
Yeah, another club dropped out, and then Slow County Crawlers picked up that section to help on.
Gotcha.
But I forgot who had it before because they would have done the first. Because I think in 2017 was the first year that Slow County Crawlers did that Adopt a Trail section.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Another rock project. I don't know how much RTF had to do with that one.
Yeah.
If they helped send a lot of the money that we're talking about is grant matching, right? So the county puts up $15,000 and RTF says we'll match that $15,000 to fly rock into Cadillac, right?
And they're getting all the rock from the
2 places.
Yeah. But the one I know of then is that the bottom of the spillway out of Loon Lake, where they dug that tunnel for the water for Smud, which kind of talked about in a previous episode, right?
The Buck Island Tunnel?
The Buck Island. Well, that's one. I didn't know.
Are you talking about the Powerhouse Tunnel?
The Powerhouse Tunnel.
Yeah, that's another one, yeah.
Okay, so the Buck Island Tunnel is the other one.
Yep.
Yeah, so Buck Island Tunnel, the tunnel out of the back of Buck Island, that goes all the way to Loon Lake. And then there's a tunnel that goes from Loon Lake down.
Almost vertically down.
Down to the bottom of where you drive over the river on Wentworth Springs Road.
Yep.
On that bridge right there, where like Ice House Road and Wentworth Springs Road come together. And it turns into Wentworth Springs. And then you drive over this bridge. There's a powerhouse down there. So there's a tunnel that goes through the ground from Loon Lake all the way to that area.
Yeah.
So they get a lot of the rock from those jobs.
Yep. Yeah, there's a massive underground power station that's down there with a giant water turbine that's underground, housed in this underground chamber, and they've got a tunnel leading in, a tunnel leading out for the water flow. And there's a really cool video that I just found that got posted on one of the Rubicon Trail pages. So we'll see if we can find that and put that down in the show notes if you guys want to know about that power station. It's very impressive how they did it and what it is. So, and where it is.
Yeah. That's wild.
Let's see.
Okay.
In 2021,
yes,
that's when that Granite View Loop officially opened with all the signage and anchor points, blah, blah.
Okay.
2022, a GMRS repeater was put in.
Okay.
For all the GMRS adopters for off-roaders out there. In 2023, that's when the trail closed. And that 2012 easement agreement did not work.
Yep.
And so it had to get renegotiated. That was December 2022. And then it got renegotiated midway through the year 2023. 2024, we have this big plan for this reroute on the Placer side, right? Rubicon Trail Foundation is fronting $250,000, $250,000 to make sure the trail doesn't close. Because if we don't do anything there, the Placer County or the Forest Service, somebody is going to come in, the water board is going to come in and shut down the trail. So rather than see that happening, they're taking some action because it's been a known issue since 2018. Nobody's wanted to do anything about it. So Rubicon Trail Foundation and Tahoe National Forest are teaming together to try and make something happen so that we don't lose the trail.
Right.
So $250,000 they're fronting for that project.
Wow. I still want to get Ken in and go over that.
Yeah.
That topic.
Yep. It's a really good topic. There's a lot of really good information. There's a lot of good concerns about it, but RTF has a great lawyer that really is a property rights lawyer that has gotten to know a lot about RS 2477 law and how it works. And so one of the last Rubicon Information Group meetings that I hosted, Jesse, the lawyer, came on and talked about RS 2477 and how this reroute was going to be impacted by RS 2477 or vice versa.
Okay.
And it sounds like there's really not going to be an impact. The RS 2477 designation will follow routes if there's having to be bypasses created due to safety concerns or anything.
Interesting.
So historically, whenever that's happened, like a route has been shut down and then moved due to safety, due to whatever reason, the RS 2477 designation moves with that route.
That makes sense.
Right?
I mean, logically, it's like there's a problem here. We have to move the route. So everything that's on that road should have to follow it.
All the designations, all the ownership of that road, blah, 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 should all move with the road.
Mm-hmm.
And that's typically how things work.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's a great presentation. I believe RTF is getting ready to either put it up on YouTube or have it available publicly.
Okay.
And so if you guys want to know more about how RS2477 works and how it applies to the reroute happening right now, it's an awesome, roughly hour-long presentation by the lawyers. So.
Okay. Cool.
And then on top of all that, every single year, RTF spends $25,000 on mid-trail staff.
Oh, okay.
So Glenn is our mid-trail staff right now. He gets $25,000 a year to go and hang out on weekends during the summer at his office on Top Indian Trail. So
not a bad little gig there.
Yeah, right.
Well, and then who's paying for the poop truck?
That's county now.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So county, though, fun story I just learned about. They put in a grant to have their poop truck maintained, right? And upgraded and made better. And they got denied.
Oh, okay.
And so RTF might now be doing some grant fund matching to help repair and maintain the county's poop truck.
Yeah, okay.
So it's looking like that's going to head down that road. There's a new guy in charge of the Parks and Rec, right, for El Dorado County, and the Rubicon Trail, and he's learning a lot about how stuff happens on the Rubicon and how the grants used to be all lined up and how to make grants better. And so RTF has been chatting with him about what has worked traditionally for the Rubicon Trail in order to get grant funding.
Right.
And so it sounds like they'll be helping the county write some grants for the poop truck and other projects.
Okay.
So,
yeah. We need the poop truck.
We absolutely do. Yeah. Yep.
Very unique rig.
Yeah, it
built
is.
by WFO.
Yep. That's all my notes for kind of a little bit of the Rubicon Trail history, RTF history, and a bunch of the stuff that they've done throughout the years.
Yeah.
To help make sure that the trail stays open for everybody.
Well, that's fun. It's always good to learn more about the trail and everything along those lines. And I had no idea about the Rob's Resort and Cantina for the con, how that started. So that was really cool.
Yeah. Yep. Some fun stuff. So hopefully everybody out there, if you're, enjoying the trail, or if you want to come out to California at some point and enjoy the trail, support those organizations that are supporting the trail. RTF is definitely one of them, but they're not the only one.
No,
there's more organizations out there. So find them and support the trails to help them keep it open. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys enjoyed this and you want to know more, feel free to call in, ask us more questions. If you have want to know some more history of the Rubicon or history of that area, you can do that at area code 916-345-4744. Leave us a message, and we will respond to that message on snail mail episodes in the future.
Yep.
We also have Instagram accounts. Tyler's at 4x4 Toyota Tyler. I'm at SnailTrail4x4. You can write in and ask questions there. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way now by email, and you can do that at Jimmy or Tyler at snailtrail4x4.com.
That's it. I like it a lot. Jimmy Jet, any final words to wrap up this episode for everybody out there?
Did you have in your notes when they formally named Snail Hill?
I believe that was it was 2020.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So once COVID shut down and we were up there a lot.
Yeah.
That's when they finally accepted our recommendations.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right up there with S-Turn.
Please, everybody go and call it Snail Hill. And with that, my friends, keep crawling.
I don't like this one.
Too damn bad, Jimmy. You don't get your druthers here. Okay.
The worst bar I ever went to was called The Fiddle.
Okay.
It was a Vile Inn.
bar okay, so it was a bar in a hotel, in an inn.
Yeah,
but it was vile.
It was a vial, a violin,
a violin.
The fiddle
is a fiddle. A fiddle is not a violin, though.
I'll do another one. What do you call a minotaur in a playground?
I don't know. What do you call a minotaur in a playground, Jimmy?
A swing and a myth.
Swing and a okay. These are stretches, man. These are.
Should we do another one? a swing and a myth. What do you call Santa when he's wearing earmuffs?
Natalie Portman.
You got it.
Yay, we got one.
How did you do that?
I'm amazing.
Yeah, no.
Well, I don't know. What do you call Santa when he's wearing earmuffs?
Anything you like. He can't hear you.
Okay. So that one's better. That's better than a swing and a myth.
Yeah. All right. 5 hours later.